The Sir Walter Jones Show, UBM Praise Chicago, part of the UBM Network.
Broadcasting all over the world at urbanbroadcastmedia.com, delivering love and inspiration 24/7. This is UBM Praise.
Okay, ladies, do any of y'all want to hang with Sir Walter Jones on Today?
Yeah!
No, not at all. We don't want you. Please don't come. No, I'm just joking. You can come along.
Totally!
Let's go. Sir Walter Jones. Who is it? Sir Walter Jones. What's his name? Sir Walter Jones. Whose show is this? Sir Walter Jones. Who is it? Sir Walter Jones. Say it again. Sir Walter Jones. Who you with? Sir Walter Jones. One more again. Sir Walter Jones.
The Sir Walter Jones Show with co-host Alvin Carter. We are a Christian talk show in which we tackle all the hot topics in the believer's walk. It's Fireside Friday. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and be encouraged in the Lord.
Friday.
I beat China all the time. When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo? When do we beat Mexico at the border? They're laughing at us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. The big lie, Obamacare. $5 billion we spent on a website. I hire people. They do a website. It costs me $3. Are you running? Are you not running? I am officially running for President of the United States. We need a leader that wrote The Art of the Deal. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. Free trade can be wonderful if you have smart people, but we have people that are stupid. I like China. I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China. They have bridges that make the George Washington Bridge look like small potatoes. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich. I love the Saudis. Many are in this building. Obama, a year ago, Yemen was a great victory. 2 weeks later, the place was blown up. We're dying. We're dying. We need money. Thank you, darling. But Mr. Trump, you're not a nice person.
We don't need nice.
That's true. But actually, I am. I think I am a nice person. We have losers. We have losers. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump. We won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry, goes into a bicycle race at 72 years old and falls and breaks his leg. I won't be doing that. The American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up now? Brother, what's up? This is a big party, man. Yeah, I brother, dig it. Stop it. Right on. Hey, man, what's your name? Everything is everything. Get down today,
Hello, everybody. Sir Walter, the Sir Walter Jones Show. I am he. Friday. Fireside Friday. Sit around the mic and talk about stuff and fry in front of the fireplace. Get your marshmallows ready with the big stick and the black and white television. Well, no, back then we had a radio. We dressed up and sat in front of the radio, just looked at the radio like it was a television. And we listened to the great President Roosevelt talk about stuff going on, his little addresses that he would do on Saturdays. Just great stuff, man. Yeah, I'm old school. So is Brittany. She's old, just old as dirt. Yeah, we're talking about today the death of the Republican Party. Death of the Republican Party. What happened? What's going on? And when did it start dying? We're going to go there today. You just heard the Donald Trump 2016 speech. He announced that he's running for president, and that right there didn't start the death of the Republican Party. It's just the effect of things that happened a couple of years back. I think the death of the Republican Party started probably around 2012. Yeah, 2012. You're like, what happened in 2012? Well, go back, check it out. We were in another election again, and maybe we'll talk about that soon or later. Today in news, John Boehner, who is the Speaker of the House, dropped out. He says, I'm done. Yesterday I was watching the Pope address the Congress, which has never happened before in American history. And there he was. And I looked at John Boehner while this was going on, and I saw him tear up, as he always do. He is the crying man of Congress. And he was tearing up, and I says, boy, he's really into this speech. And then today he said he woke up and he had an epiphany. He said, you know what? I think I'm done. I'm out. You see, his job is to make sure that the will of the House is heard. That's the John Boehner's job. That's the job of the Speaker of the House. And we have had some rocky roads. And I think this is, 114th Congress, 115th. I can't keep up. It's up there. And so many things are happening, or the lack thereof. This Congress is doing nothing, absolutely nothing. They're passing absolutely nothing. I remember hearing President Obama say, pass a bill. Like he was, almost like he cussed. Pass a bill. And they won't do it. So I have some files here that I'm going to play and find out what's going on with the death. Is it the death of the Republican Party? And why are so many of us African Americans not a part of the Republican Party? Why are we Democrat? And we've done shows, gosh, so many shows we've done. Go to Spreaker.com and hear our shows on the United States and the Democratic Party, Republican Party. We got a whole lot of shows. I don't even know. Can't even remember the names of those shows. But here, let's go to A. Britt. This is hits and misses of the great John Boehner.
Morning, everyone. Happy Election Day.
Speaker Boehner, you mentioned...
hold on, it's right there.
You started with the Iraq...
The guy next door.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, red tie. Nice shirt. A little bright for this early in the morning. It stands out, don't worry. Let your hair grow.
It's growing back.
Good thing you're not sitting next to him with that red shirt on.
Nice cancer.
You can do it, Mr. Speaker. You can do it, and you really haven't done it.
I appreciate your opinion. Thank you. And we're hoping they'll get back. Maybe you'll learn the rules, and then I'll call on you. I do my thing. Whoa.
Mr. Camp? Sorry, Mr. Speaker, you can tell I'm a tax reporter.
I've already answered the question. Listen, I've stood here after losing some special elections. I tried to put lipstick on a pig, but it was still a pig. And what's the president doing? Taking a nap. Members should wear appropriate business attire during all sittings of the House, however brief their appearance on the floor might be. And you know who you are. Talking up some nutso scheme. Are you kidding me? Oh, don't make me do this. Oh, this is too hard. The hell is this, a joke?
Do you have any response to that?
Nope. That's what I do all day. They wind me up about every 15 minutes. Thank you.
The great John Boehner. The New York Times announced that House Speaker John Boehner will resign from Congress at the end of next month, I believe it is. Speaker, under intense pressure from conservatives in his party, announced on Friday that he would resign. One of the most powerful positions in government, and give up his House seat at the end of October as Congress moved to avert a government shutdown. Man, they love trying to shut us down. Mr. Boehner, who was first elected to Congress in 1990, actually, made the announcement in an emotional meeting. It's always emotional. With the fellow Republicans on Friday morning. He says, my job, or my first job as Speaker, is to protect the institution. Mr. Boehner said at a news conference at the Capitol, saying that it had become clear to me that this prolonged leadership turmoil would do irreparable harm to the institution. Well, he is really irreparable, but sometimes because it seems to be irreparable. Looking poised and sounding rehearsed, Mr. Boehner, who stunned the Capitol with his news, became emotional as he recalled a moment with the Pope Francis, who had been his guest the day before at the Capitol and who had asked the Speaker to pray for him. Reflecting on his decision, he said, "This morning I woke up, said my prayers, as I always do, and thought, this is the day I am going to do this." He added, "I never thought I'd be in Congress, let alone be Speaker." Mr. Boehner, he's about 65 years old, y'all. He's from Ohio. I like Ohio. Had struggled from almost the moment he took the Speaker's the gavel in 2011 to manage the challenges of divided government and to hold together his fractious and increasingly conservative Republican members. Just a house divided. They're just wayward, many of them are. And most recently, he was trying to craft a solution to keep the government open through the rest of the year, but was under pressure from the growing base of conservatives who told him that they would not vote for a bill that did not defund Planned Parenthood. Y'all know Planned Parenthood. It has become a catastrophe for us, especially who are African Americans. They're placed in those communities, and that woman, Sanger, I think her name is, she wanted to annihilate African Americans by getting rid of the babies. And it is a push between the left and the right on this issue of Planned Parenthood. And they don't just do abortion, they do a lot of other things good for women's health. Unfortunately, it's that 5% poison that I mentioned on this show quite often about the Decon rat poison. It has 95% good food, but it has 5% poison. And it is the poison, only the 5% that kills the rat. Not the 95% good food, of course. The 95% good food gives the rat interest. Yeah. So Mr. Boehner lessened the chance of a government shutdown next week because Republican leaders will push for a short-term funding measure to keep the government operating, and the Speaker will no longer be deterred by those who threaten his job. Yeah, his job was threatened. Now that his office is number 3 as far as the successions, y'all, of the President of the United States. All right. Now that's huge. Okay. United States line of succession defines who may become or act as a president upon the incapacity or the death or the resignation or removal from office. If the president is impeached, okay, subsequent of maybe some conviction, then there is an order. All right. And I have the order because it came down, I think it was the Presidential Succession Act of 1947. Prior to that, they didn't really have a succession other than the vice president. They just had to go back and do to the drawing board. As subsequently amended to include newly created cabinet offices, the succession follows the order of vice president. Okay, now let me go here now. We know if something happens to the president, the vice president takes on. Now, right now, it's Joe Biden. If something should happen to both of them, they're wiped out, okay, or they're incapacitated. Then it goes to the Speaker of the House. All right, he's actually second in succession, and that would be John Boehner. Of course, he'll be gone. There'll be someone else. But then you okay, after him, what happens if something happens and 3 of them are wiped out? Well, the third person would be the president of pro tempore of the Senate, and that's Orrin Hatch. Yes, Orrin Hatch could be the United States president. Mm-hmm. After that, it would be the Secretary of State. That's number 4, John Kerry. Okay, it could have been Hillary Clinton, but you remember she walked away from that job. And then the Secretary of Treasury, Jack Lew, and then the Secretary of Defense, Ashton Carter, and then the Attorney General, which is Loretta Lynn. And some women in here, y'all. Mm-hmm. And it goes all the way down. Secretary of Interior, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Labor, and then the Secretary of Health and Human Services, then the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, then the Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Veteran Affairs. And they figure if the 16th guy is wiped out, we in trouble. Because we ain't got but one left, and that's the 17th guy, and that's the Secretary of Homeland Security. That would be Jay Johnson. All right? Yeah. You have to wipe out 17 people for the United States to figure out, okay, what we're going to do as far as putting somebody else in that office. Mm-hmm. So it's what's going on with the Republican Party? Are they dying or are they dead? They've made a lot of gaffes and Freudian slips and misspokes. An attack on women, an attack on African Americans, an attack here, an attack there. And it makes them look really bad, don't it? If you look at the Republican conventions that happens every 4 years, you look at the makeup, the color scheme of that room, you see lily white. It's like a bed of flowers, white flowers. And you might see one little dot walking around. And that one dot gets a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. If it's a black man or black woman, they overly show compassion to that guy because they're excited to finally see somebody of color there. Okay, so we're going to kind of mention the history of the Republican Party because this is important to know what the history is. But before we go there, I think that the Democratic Party, as far as media is concerned, have their house on TV. That house is actually MSNBC. Yeah. If you turn on MSNBC, that is the Democratic Party. They are the liberals. The Republican Party, of course, have Fox News. They are the bed of the Republican Party. And then CNN try to act neutral. Right? We got the three there. So let's talk about Fox News for a minute and the race baiting. Okay? I got a file here. Britt, this is file B. Listen very closely to see if there is an issue about, because when Fox talk about race, anything racially insensitive or sensitive, they usually go to the extreme with it. And let's see what they have to say here.
So it's clear that people pushing racial injustice that they believed happened in the Zimmerman trial, they don't really want to talk about complicated racial problems in general. What the grievance industry does want is to divide the country along racial lines because that's good for business.
People like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton do not deserve to be called civil rights leaders. They are not. They are hustlers and pimps who make a living off inflaming racial tensions.
Talking Points believes the day of the race hustlers is coming to an end. This we and them business gets the country nowhere.
He went to FoxNews.com and saw the story where race did suddenly come to the forefront.
The reason Trayvon Martin died was because he looked a certain way. He was wearing a hoodie and he looked a certain way, and that way is how gangstas look.
You dress like a thug, people are going to treat you like a thug. That's true. I stand by that.
Well, say you're a cocaine dealer, and you kind of look like one a little bit.
You are not a victim. You need to stand up and take responsibility.
I want you to do a little research for me. I think it's a fact that proportionally, young black men commit far more crimes than any other group in this country. And I think that that's what is driving all of this fear on both sides.
Well, as coverage of the new Black Panther case ticks up in the wake of the DOJ whistleblower coming forward, so too do the accusations of racism. Some accuse those who are shedding light on this story of inflaming racial tensions. Members of the new Black Panther Party were caught on videotape. Those new Black Panthers, the new Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther, the new Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, new Black Panther, those new Black Panthers, members of the new Black Panther Party, may have reached all the way to the White House.
But there was a different attitude in America after World War II, because we had won a hellacious war. White America was kind of unified. That unification made it easier for society to function.
And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white. Jesus was a white man too. Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change.
Actually, I think that's the official slogan of oppression. Oppression. Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change.
Well, that's something that, this is why I think both sides offend. Both the Republican side and the Democratic side offend each other. They throw bricks and rocks across the room for each other. And then there's a gulf in between those who are moderates, okay? And the moderates, because they're moderates, don't mean that they don't, that they're neutral. Not necessarily. They believe in something. They're like an atheist. An atheist is a religious person. They have faith. They believe in something. They believe in science, and they have faith. They're like their faith is stronger actually than the Christians. It really is. They always battle me with that one, and that's I like atheists actually. I really do. Sometimes I get tired of throwing my pearls to swine, as the scriptures say. But a lot of my friends are unbelievers. I just use the word friends very loosely because the scripture does tell us not to be friends with them. So they're just associates. And we talk to them, and they know that I believe in the Word of God. And we go out and have pie, and we don't talk about religion. We just don't do it because he already know my stand. He ain't gonna change me, and he feels I'm not gonna change him either. So we just talk about stuff. We talk about science and politics. That's just the way it is. And Jesus didn't spend a whole lot of time out in the streets just talking about religion. He did speak about the kingdom. He did. But he spent a lot. What he did was, remember when he went and fed the 5,000? He didn't, he fed them natural food, fish and bread, and he healed people. He didn't bombard them about their religious beliefs. He showed it to them. He never said nothing. I think it was, what's his name? St. Francis of that little town called Assisi. He said it best. I quote him a lot. He said, preach the gospel. And if need be, use words. The great Donald Herring is on Facebook here, and he's giving me a little meme from LBJ, and he's right. He says, I'll have those Negroes voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And he's a prophet. Yeah, this meme says the real home of racism is the Democratic Party. Got to squint because the words getting smaller and smaller. It says here the Republican Party was founded specifically to abolish slavery. The KKK became the terrorist arm of the Democratic Party. Neither Democratic Presidents Woodrow Wilson, nor Franklin D. Roosevelt, nor Harry S. Truman could have won elections without the help of the KKK. The natural home of racism is the Democratic Party, is what this thing is saying. Politifake.org. Okay? That bottom portion, I don't know how true that bottom portion is, but I will say that truly the KKK is definitely a part of the Democratic Party. And it's amazing how African-American churches, the black churches, really what the Democratic Party stands for, it does not represent I would say the spiritual aspects of the black church. But yet we will remain Democrat. We have to remain, because our father was Democrat. Possibly our grandparents were Democrats, okay? But our great-grandparents, they were not. They were Republicans. They were Republicans from the time of the man who freed the slaves, or freed some of them. A good old president there with the big hat. Yeah, y'all know who he is. Matter of fact, we'll talk about Lincoln in a minute here, about the history of the United States and the Republican Party. I did wanted to get another file in here. Let's go to C. Britt. This is called the Republican Candidates on Black People. Now, watch this. Every time a Republican speaks something derogatory about a black person, that Republican poll goes up. You remember, look at Donald Trump. His polls kept climbing every time he spoke against the Hispanics. Okay, and that tall fence, that long fence. Every time he spoke negative against them, polls went up. Let's see what they have to say here on Fox.
We know the candidate Barack Obama, what he was like. The anti-war government, America was a source for division around the world.
And CNN projects Rick Santorum will win the state of Alabama. Take a look at this.
They're just pushing harder and harder to get more and more of you dependent upon them so they can get your vote. That's what the bottom line is. I don't want to make people's lives better by giving them somebody else's money.
But you threw in black people when most of the people, as you know, on welfare are white people. You think that's going to be a problem?
I looked at that, and I didn't say that. If you look at it, what I started to say as a word and then sort of changed, and it sort of came out, and people said I said black. I didn't. So I don't want to make people's lives better.
NBC News now projects that Rick Santorum will win in Mississippi.
But my main message is to the parents of Trayvon Martin. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
But the president said, in a sense, is disgraceful. Is the president suggesting that if it had been a white who'd been shot, that would be okay because it wouldn't look like him?
Most of these schools ought to get rid of the unionized janitors, have one master janitor, and pay local students to take care of the school. The kids would actually do work. President Obama is the most effective food stamp president in American history.
Can't you see that this is viewed at a minimum as insulting to all Americans, but particularly to black Americans?
No, I don't see that.
And we can make our first projection of the night. Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, he wins Georgia. 76 delegates at stake. Newt Gingrich, the winner in his home state.
Oh, come on. Who's got your camera, though? Who let the dogs out? Who?
CNN can now project that Mitt Romney is the winner of the Michigan primary.
Look at the percentages. The percentage of people who use drugs are about the same with blacks and whites, and yet the blacks are arrested way disproportionately. They're prosecuted in prison way disproportionately.
CNN projects that Ron Paul will come in second place, but we do project here at CNN that Ron Paul will come in third. Congressman Paul, thanks very much for joining us. Explain to our viewers what's next for you, because I'm still a little confused.
Ron Paul loses because he spoke up for blacks. The other ones, every time they said some gaffe or something that they believed in, their polls went up. Amazing, isn't it? What a country we live in. We've been divided for so long, we will not ever stop being divided until Jesus comes. Or until you die, because it depends on what you believe in. Many of you don't believe in Christ and his second coming. That's fine. I can't, beat you up for that. But I don't see this country getting any better. But there's something going on as I go to this break. There's definitely something going on. This Pope who is here this week, I decided not to do a show on him because he's here in America, and I didn't want to be a ungracious host. So I'll talk about it next week. I'll never forget the story of President JFK was killed, 1963, I think it was. And Malcolm X said something bad about him. And the Elijah Muhammad took him in the office and says, I'm going to have to silence you. He says, because you don't talk about them white folks president. You don't do that. They're mourning right now, and they're in the streets talking about the man. I felt that thing. I'm not Muslim, but I understood what he was saying. The Pope is here in America, and I want to be gracious and not say anything. So, welcome, Pope, and hope you leave here with, you've learned something. Hope you've learned something and see America as it is. I want to hear from the great Ray Charles. He's singing about America. Sir Walter Jones Show.
No little cinnamon gum freshens breath longer than Big Red.
So kiss a little longer, hug a little longer, state your case a little longer, longer with Big Red. That Big Red freshness lasts right through it. Your fresh breath goes on and on while you chew it. Say goodbye a little
beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this.
The great Ray Charles, America, from Sea to Shining Sea. What a great man. I'm gonna definitely miss him. He has given us some amazing music down through the years. Taught us a lot about music business as well, because he owned pretty much everything. He owned all this stuff. He had creative license to do whatever he wanted to do and to own it. But the Republican Party is commonly called the GOP, the grand old party, y'all. Yeah. NASCAR and everything. It's one of the world's oldest political parties still in existence. It's the second oldest existing political party in the United States after its rival, the great rival, the Democratic Party. It emerged in 1854, long time, y'all, to combat the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Y'all don't know what that is? Go to Google. Which it threatened to extend slavery into the territories and to promote more vigorous modernization of the economy. The party had almost no presence in the South, but by 1858 in the North, it had enlisted former Whigs and former Free Soil Democrats to form majorities in nearly every northern state. With this election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860 and its success in guiding the Union to victory in abolishing slavery, the party came to dominate the national political scene until 1932. They were fierce, y'all. The Republican Party was based on northern white Protestants, businessmen, small business owners, professionals, factory workers, farmers, and African Americans. It was pro-business, supporting banks, the gold standard. I got to do a show about the gold standard. Oh, what a story. Railroads and high tariffs to protect factory workers and grow industry faster. That should be who we are about. We African Americans. Yes, my forefathers, my grandfather was a farmer in the South. I have a lot of businessmen that are in my family because I'm one of them, especially small business owners. I have professionals all throughout my family. Okay. Bankers in my family. And this is what the Republican Party was about. And still really is. Under William McKinley and Theodore Roosevelt, it emphasized an expansive foreign policy. The GOP lost its majority during the Great Depression, 1929 through to about 1940. Instead, the Democrats under Franklin D. Roosevelt formed a winning New Deal coalition. And that's where a lot of your forefathers begin to jump ship, is through Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal. And many of them began to rethink the whole Republican deal that they were getting, which was not the great deal to a lot of houses. It was dominate from 1932 through 1964. The coalition collapsed in the mid-1960s, partly because of white Southern Democrats. Yep. Disaffection with passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Republicans resurged, winning 5 of the 6 presidential elections, 1968 to 1988, with Ronald Reagan as the party's iconic conservative hero. He was Batman to the Republicans. In recent times, though, from 92 to 2012, the Republican candidate has been elected to the White House in only 2 of the 6 presidential elections, and only in 1 out of 6 elections. In 2004, did he win the popular vote? Yeah, that part has gone through some mean struggle. The GOP expanded its base throughout the South after 68, except for, of course, 1976, largely due to its strength among social conservatives, white evangelical Protestants, and traditionalist Roman Catholics. We did a show about that, about the United States religion in the United States. I think I don't remember the name of the show, but we talked about how the evangelicals, they weren't into voting. They just wanted to do their work, or their farming, or whatever, and they go home. And it wasn't until Ronald Reagan came on the scene that the religious party decided, well, I think we need to get involved in politics. Okay? As white Democrats in the South lost dominance of the Democratic Party, once U.S. courts declared the Democratic white primary elections unconstitutional. The region began more taking on the two-party apparatus, which characterized most of the nation. The Republican Party central leader by 1980 was Ronald Reagan, whose conservative policies called for reduced government spending and regulations, and lower taxes, and a strong anti-Soviet foreign policy. I think they call it Reaganomics. His iconic status in the party persists into the 21st century, and they still sing his praises today, the great Ronald Reagan. Well, in walked Donald Trump, okay, which to some feel that because of the rise of Donald Trump, it means the death of the Republican Party. And I'm one of those who can hold hands and sing Kumbaya with that statement. But I also want to bring up something here. We're going to Jon Stewart, who ended his show recently. I'm still in mourning about that. They call it fake news entertainment, but really more young people went to the Jon Stewart Daily Show for news than they did these other news networks. Because even though it was kind of satire, it brought a lot of truth. Megyn Kelly came on the scene, and well, I'm going to leave the mic going because I'm going to have to talk through this one. I might have to interrupt this one. I just want to play the first part. Let's see what this sounds like.
In Slate, they have a piece on .com. Santa Claus should not be a white man anymore. By the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white, but this person is just arguing that maybe we should also have a black Santa. But, you know, Santa is what he is, and just so you know, we're just debating this because someone wrote about it, kids.
It just got real. Santa is just white. And who are you actually talking to? Children who are sophisticated enough to be watching a news channel at 10 o'clock at night, yet innocent enough to still believe Santa Claus is real, yet racist enough to be freaked out if he isn't white. Why? That's such a narrow... Yes, West Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
Kevin Avery, it's so fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and that's and I played that file because the Fox News every year is coming December. There's going to be what they call War on Christmas. Okay, every year Fox does this. You could set your clock to it. Right after Thanksgiving, they're going to do a campaign called War on Christmas, and they're going to talk about how we can't say Merry Christmas anymore. It's got to be Happy Holidays. All right, kids can't bring Christian type items to the Christmas parties at school. You can't put a Jesus and Mary in the nativity scene in the front lawns of any maybe governmental building. Okay, you have to have Santa Claus out there and some other stuff. That's what Fox News do. When it comes to that which is religious, they are definitely on top of it. And I was supporting the whole War on Christmas. I really was. And I still do. I support the War on Christmas because it has definitely turned into a money-making thing. But then the Pope came to town, and then the right wings, they began to respond to how this is how they welcome the Pope. Go to E.
Will Francis and Barack reshape the world by taxing the rich, taxing fossil fuels, and redistributing the wealth? That's exactly what they're trying to do.
He talks about the horror of capitalism. He's anti-trickle-down economics. He supports the Iranian deal.
His job is to get souls into heaven, period. His job is not to tell governments how to spend money.
This is just pure Marxism coming out of the mouth of the Pope. There's no such unfettered capitalism that doesn't exist anywhere.
Essentially, he's talking about the greed of America.
Is this an anti-capitalist Pope?
The Pope sounds like he is against capitalism.
He has a Marxist background.
This Pope is a world government promoting, anti-gun, global government carbon tax guy, and it's sick.
The same people who gave us Obama gave us this Pope.
Do you think he's going to get political at all and talk about America's worship of money and our green energy and talk about global warming?
The most dangerous person on the planet is somebody who's seeking strange new respect from their adversaries. And that is what the Pope is doing.
We are not bamboozled by a clean white outfit and a huge cross.
I've asked the Pope's people if I could put together a team of people that could actually teach the Pope.
He comes out of a Latin American strand of Catholicism that is, frankly, sort of anti-capitalist and anti-bourgeois.
Go visit the Pope and say, this is what capitalism is.
We're not buying this big lie.
He is a Malthusian.
Does this Pope understand America?
The Pope is saying we have to give and give and give, the rich. We have to give and give and give until we're all poor.
And I think it's up to the Catholic people to turn their backs on this Pope before it is too late, before they wake up and find out that they're in chains.
You have a Pope doing this at this point and calling for planetary government.
He doesn't want to be your grandfather's Pope. He wants to be a modern Pope. All he needs is dreadlocks and a dog with a bandana, and he could be on Occupy Wall Street.
The Pope is a danger to the world.
And as far as I'm concerned, this Pope needs an exorcism.
Yeah. The reason why I played that file and the file before that is because I was going to do a show called Double Standard, which I'm going to do next week. I'm sure I am. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Double standard. It's amazing. You ever heard of the saying, bite the hand that feeds you? Yeah. These are conservatives. Their base is conservatives, Republicans, evangelicals. That's their base. Okay? And part of that evangelical or that conservative group are Catholics. There are a lot of Catholics who watch Fox News. Yes. So what Fox News has done is they attack Christmas. I mean, they attack the people who are attacking Christmas because they want to bring in the Christian ideologies of making sure that we understand that the United States is a Christian nation, which it is not. And then they turn around and dig a hole for the Pope as he's here. It's just amazing to me. And you wonder, I think it talks about, the saying about the house divided. Can't stand. It just falls in. Rome fell not because of an explosion. Rome fell because of an implosion. There's a difference between the two, right? Yes. So the implosion is from the inside out. And that's implosions is what they do when they try to demolish a building, and they put what they put in those buildings to explode them, dynamites. They put them strategically in places so that the building will fall within itself. Call it an implosion. So when it implodes, it falls inside. That's how Rome fell, and that's how the United States is going to fall. I will not be a part of a media institution where I started spraying raid in the faces of those who support me. It would be like me going to the cleaners and, trying to give them my business and then calling me all kind of N-words and telling me, your business stinks, knowing good and well that 90% of the people in their community are African Americans, and we're the ones. And that's what Fox News do, and I think that's what the Republican Party has done. They have attacked themselves. And you say, well, how's that possible? Look at the people who are voting, those who are boosting up the polls of someone like Donald Trump. I don't blame Donald Trump. He's a megalomaniac, and that's what he does. He has mental illness. But look at the people who are voting for him. Those people who are voting for him, that says something about America. Yeah. We're going to call this we're definitely going to do the double standard show. But quickly, I do want to play F. I think I'm at F. This is the double standard in Congress. You better not talk about the Republicans in the Congress because, they have the majority right now. This is F. This is Representative Corrine Brown. She's from Florida, Democrat. She said something and get cuts off by the guy with the gavel. And then Republican, her sister, Donna Edwards, she's from Maryland. She comes and she says, I need to make a parliamentary inquiry. What's going on here? Why would you shut her up? This is going on right on our TVs from C-SPAN, I think it was. Let's play that.
Without objection.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is much is required. This is a sad day in the House of Representatives. Shame on the Republicans. Shame on the House of Representatives.
Suspend. The gentlelady will be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a...
No, the gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will be seated.
Excuse me? What did I say that was incorrect?
Shall suspend. Not recognized.
I was recognized for a minute. Are you saying I do not have my minute?
The gentlelady.
Parliamentary inquiry, please. Mr. Speaker, a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentlelady will state her point of parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it not in order, as we've heard many times on this floor, for a member of the House to simply not mention by name individual members of the House, but to mention categories of members? That happens all the time. Mr. Speaker, is it not in order when there are members on the other side of the aisle who have said Obama, Obamacare, that Nancy Pelosi is a train wreck on the floor of this House, and their words have not been taken down and they've not been seated? Is it not in order for the gentlelady to have been recognized and be able to speak on this issue merely saying Republicans? That could be a lowercase Republicans.
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend. There's a currently demand for the words to be taken down pending before the body. The clerk will report the word. The gentlelady from Florida will be seated.
She said, he told me to sit down. You could hear them rumbling in the background. She said, don't apologize. I'm not going to apologize. This is happening on our TVs. I'm a nerd. I watch news all day long, all day. And I'm watching this stuff right before my eyes and saying to myself, is America watching this? Are they seeing this? Why ain't nobody talking about this? Okay? I'm beginning to sound like Chris Bass. And notice I'm pausing in my words. Now I see why he can do a 2-hour show every day by himself. You have to pause. Alvin Washington Jr., who was my engineer on Tuesday nights, he chimed in on this thing. He's mentioned in Wikipedia. It says, according to historian William E. Barton, a rumor current in various forms in several sections of the South was that Lincoln's biological father was Abraham Enlow, which Barton dismissed as false. According to Doug Weed, Enlow publicly denied this connection to Lincoln, but a report to have privately confirmed another claim that was that Lincoln was part Negro, but that was unproven. Mail received by Lincoln called him a Negro and a mulatto. Thomas Lincoln's completions frothy, according to Lincoln's law partner, William H. Herndon. Lincoln had very dark skin, although his cheeks were leathery and saffron colored, and his face was sallow, that is, and his hair was dark, almost black. Abraham Lincoln described himself as black, and his complexion in 1859 as dark, but whether he meant either in an ancestry sense is unknown. And you can go to, remember the Shulamite woman in the Song of Solomon? She said she was black but calmly. She wasn't say she was a black woman. You guys need to read this contextually. That was a side note, by the way. The Charleston Mercury described him as being of the dirtiest complexion and asked for after him what white man would be president. That was from that great Alvin Washington Jr. And to side note again on the Shulamite woman, it doesn't mean she wasn't black, because she probably was black, just as Solomon was black. But her saying I'm black but calmly wouldn't make any sense for her to say that if she was already black and Solomon was black. Why would she say I'm black? It would be obvious that she's black. So she wasn't talking about her skin color. She was in the sun too long, and or she had tan maybe, I don't know. So yeah, Alvin was saying that there was also a book called The Hidden Lincoln that brings this up as well. A third source, and he goes on and on. Alvin Washington can talk, you know. Big Luke says to Alvin Washington, salute you for the information contained. Let me just add that there's more than one reason why they put Lincoln on the bronze coin turned the opposite way. Things that make you go, all these conspiracy theories on my wall here. Lord have mercy, that done made Lincoln black. I read this stuff and you decide. Natalie Bluck says, and the Pope has his own country to run, the Vatican. But there we go with Obama is now a Roman Catholic. How is it possible? Isn't he a Muslim? I can't keep up with this. It's like a tennis match. I agree with that, Natalie. I'm confused just as much as you are. I like the Republican Party. Go ahead and play my outro. We got to get out of here. I like the Republican Party. I like their conservative ways. I like the way they always inspire people to go back and do your first works all over. Think about Christ and all that he is for us, done for us, and died for us. I visit my conservative friends in their churches in the South. Many of them treat me with love and compassion. They are not racist, no bigots, many of my friends. And I live a conservative life. And if people would watch me throughout the week, they would say that Walter is Republican by my conservative ways. Listen to our shows. Our shows are quite conservative as well, especially on Thursdays. I am definitely of the land or the party of Lincoln. Okay. Unfortunately, when I go voting in that little booth with the curtains, I pull that lever. I don't go right across the lines. I don't pull straight ticket, as they call it. If a man is in office and he's Democrat, we expect it as African Americans to vote straight ticket. That is unfair. That is dangerous, and you need to be careful how you do that because you could be putting in people who don't belong. There are laws that are written in our country, and there's little hidden things that are in the laws. If you're not careful, you will find yourself voting for something that you are against. People fought against Obamacare because they thought that there was a killing field in there where they were killing the older people, the seniors, death something. I can't remember what they called it. So they wouldn't vote for the Obamacare because there was little things that are placed in bills. Or they're placed in those bills all the time. The Congress, the court, the national court, the big court, the Supreme, they call them, voted in, made a ruling that gays can marry now. But there's things that are written in bills, okay, that you have to be careful of, which possibly could hurt the people who are trying to fight for a right to do something. And what am I saying here is that I'm neither Republican nor am I Democrat, nor am I moderate, nor am I Tea Party, nor am I Black Lives Matter. I'm not of the Liberation Party. I'm none of that stuff. I vote my conscience. I vote what I feel that the Bible tells us how to live a good life. It says in Timothy to pray for those kings and those leaders, those who are over us, who take rule and charge over us. Pray for them that we might live a peaceful life. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to do an entire show on the future of the America because 2016 is going to be a very controversial year because once the President Obama is out, which was our last that we can recognize of a controversial president, whoever we get in there now, we're going to be in trouble. And whoever replaces John Boehner, we're going to be in trouble. And it's going to be something that we have never seen in the history of this country or this world. You better get ready. I'm getting ready to prepare that show as soon as I can get it up and going. It ain't going to be pretty. So we need to pray for our children because they are the ones who got to face this mess after we're gone. So if you're pregnant right now, you better be praying for that baby in that belly every day. Pray for that child because they're getting ready to go up something that you have and your forefathers have never seen before. We're in trouble. Death of the Republican Party, well, they may not die off completely. They'll be around like roaches, but they're hurt right now. And let's pray for the people who, well, hopeful that they can get some sense and return to the Lord. Got to go, y'all. See you Monday, Men's Chronicles. God Bless America. Kate Smith. Great song. Sir Walter Jones Show.
Hello, son.
Hi, Mom. Hello, darling.
New song?
Brand new, first time in the air. Brand new, my eye. You know, I threw that song out of Yip Yip Yap Yank 22 years ago. Sounds better now.
You've been listening to the Sir Walter Jones Radio Show, where he provides you with a biblical perspective for your everyday life. Stay connected to Sir Walter Jones by visiting him online at www.sirwalterjones.com or on Facebook at www.facebook.com/AskTheElder. Stay tuned until next time with the Sir Walter Jones Show with Sir Walter Jones.